It's no surprise that there are constantly people all around us who are always living in the moment. They're going out to drink, they're going out to hook up, they're going out to do drugs, going out to watch porn. People are always living in the moment. And those are always the same people that complain that their life is harder afterwards, or complain that they don't get enough sleep when they're constantly drinking caffeine that's preventing them from going to sleep, or they're staying up late on their phone. The whole thing. I mean, you've heard this so many times, really, so it's like no surprise that I'm mentioning it. But really, this all boils down to nobody else is responsible for your own strength than yourself. Nobody's going to tell you what your purpose is in your life. Nobody else is going to tell you how to get through that difficult situation. Nobody else is going to tell you how to deal with your own thoughts. Because most people don't want to do that. Or people will just come up with this wisdom by saying, oh, just distract yourself, relax, don't even worry about it. You'll figure it out at some point. The strength comes from within. Because the more that you keep relying on other people, the more you realize that most people haven't even figured themselves out yet. Be the first person to figure yourself out. Nobody's going to understand you. People are going to be intimidated. They're going to not relate to you. But if it means that much to you, if you can't stand being weak, if you can't stand allowing your circumstances to overtake you rather than you overcoming your circumstances, then you have the strength within to conquer those scenarios. And like I said, most people are not going to do that because it requires isolation, a deep dive into oneself, deep dive into somebody else's own, deep dive into their own thoughts, deep dive into their past, their insecurities, their self-doubts, their goals, visions. Going within yourself for strength will have you realize that your goals for life, your purpose in life is much deeper than you ever thought. It's much deeper than the labels that other people put on you. It's much deeper than the looks that people give you, looking at you all weird, wondering why you haven't seen this, or you haven't done that like that person has, even though that same person has never met you before. Everybody has their own journey and their own path. You can't feel bad for where you are just because somebody else is criticizing you when, for one, they don't even know who you are. So why would it even bother you? And two, what does it matter that they criticize you? We often confuse being criticized as something that we need to change ourselves. But oftentimes, criticism comes from insecurity. It comes from people not accepting themselves. It comes from that person not wanting to look within what's going on with their own life and using that petty attack as a way to deflect their own problems. I'm not saying for everyone. I mean, there is a time and place for people to, goofily say, oh, you haven't seen this? That's crazy. It all depends upon who the person is and that person's intentions, really. But a lot of people love to point fingers and not even point at themselves and realize, hey, I know why I'm doing this. I gotta cut that out. And think to myself, what is causing me, for that person, in general, what is causing me to act that way, to lash out like that, to make a big deal over something that doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things. Having the strength within comes with realizing that what we think matters sometimes doesn't even matter at all. A lot of people love to put so much time and energy and emphasis and even the hard work into things that don't even yield results. Mostly because it feels good in the moment. We think to ourselves, oh, I'm being a positive, like, I guess, I don't know, like provider or just support for society by, by fighting for this thing. When in the end, that thing that they're fighting for, while, yeah, it's easy to, latch onto it because it feels good to, ourselves, it feels good to our flesh. At the end of the day, those things that people are fighting for that feel good in the moment, no progress really is made because it is done out of impulse. The things that are worth fighting for require resistance at the start, require self-reflection at the start to realize, is this worth fighting for? That is how you know what is worth your time. Because most people don't even think about something's worth their time, they just do it. Because a lot of people think it's weird to self-reflect about things like this. A lot of people think it's weird for someone like myself to make videos like this and going deeper into things. You're overthinking life. Just live it. Do you really think that we are here just to exist and die? Just to basically destroy our own bodies, basically to self-harm ourselves, basically to via like vaping, smoking, drinking ourselves to death, hooking up with women who are not even gonna be our wives in the future? Does that even make sense? How is living life How can you realize that living life is just, oh, I'm going to do these things and I'm going to feel like crap afterwards? That's so cool. Like that is the best thing I can spend my time with. The strength comes from within. There's either the path to purpose, the path to self-reflection, or the path to impulse or regret.